Welcome everyone to the week of wrestling. I'm your host, Harry Chambliss. I'm joined by my co-host, Ryan Payne. How's it going, man?
Going very good, honestly. I'm doing really good.
That's good to hear, man. So yes, we're doing our AEW Dynamite recap for May the 1st, I believe. Or no, sorry. Today is May 2nd, technically.
Yeah. But it was yesterday, the first.
Yeah, the 1st. Yep, there we go. Gotta love when we start off like that. But let's talk about the most important aspect of last week's Dynamite, which was Tony Khan taking a TK driver and getting fucking punched in the gut by Jack Perry. Uh, Everyone has their opinions on this. Of course, some people hate it. I fucking love it. I think it's a great way to bring Jack Perry back into the picture. Really get him some heat. A very good way to tie into this episode as well, where the Elite take over as I guess kayfabe runners, bookers of the show this week. What did you think of this whole segment?
I was kind of surprised. It did surprise me where that segment was going to go, especially at the top of at least of last week's Dynamite. They showed Jack arriving with the Young Bucks, and then the whole thing of Tony Khan's going to show up, because Tony Khan has been very adamant that he did not want to be an on-screen character. Sure, his name is consistently mentioned when it came with, the higher up is okaying this match, or he's pushing forward for this match. So, well, and it's definitely not the first time Tony Khan has shown up on screen. But the fact that they made this their last segment of the night, to me, it felt like they were going to do something. Either Jack Perry was going to attack Tony Khan, which, happened, or it was going to lead into kind of like a situation where Tony Khan wasn't going to reinstate Jack, and then Jack threatens him, and then the Bucks as EVPs come out, and they try to squash the whole thing, and then Tony Khan agrees. Then Jack attacks him, and then kind of exit, and then runs out of the arena with the Bucks, just kind of like still be professionals. But the way it turned, though, I actually don't hate that, because it fits well with the story of the Bucks' new personas as the EVPs.
Yep. And I actually really love it because, yes, Tony Khan has said that he doesn't want to be a part of main storylines, and I don't think he actually is. I think this is the only bump he's going to take. I don't think it's going to be a Vince McMahon or Eric Bischoff situation where he's going to be there every week.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, I understand the comparisons and the similarities that we're getting with this. Trust me, you'd have to be very new to wrestling to not notice the similarities.
Yeah.
But even then, it's not something to be like, oh, it's not original. I'm sorry, nothing in wrestling is original.
Nothing is original in pro wrestling.
Yeah. So it just seems to me that with Khan being taken off the board and the Bucks position themselves in a way of a hostile takeover does fit well. Because let's be honest, for the longest time, the fans and the toxic side of the internet has been thinking the Bucks had so much control because they were EVPs, blowing out of proportion the whole thing of the title of EVP. I mean, sure, when Cody was there, Cody was using a lot of creative control to push things forward, but it wasn't to the extreme extent that most of the internet was thinking of, and they still do to this day. And so the Bucks really leaned into this, and having Okada there as pretty much as their I'm not gonna say their tank, but their top guy, honestly. And now Jack Perry aligning with them as the controversial,
the scapegoat, baby.
Yeah, it really did show that despite the initial reaction to them releasing that footage, it's paying off. And that's one thing there's something some fans are still not trying to accept. But if the whole point of the fact that Jack Perry showed up at Daly's place, the pop he got at Dynasty, and the fact that there were boos towards Jack, like as his character, but you don't see anyone doing like the go away heat that we see with Jericho every now and then.
No, and And that's the thing. Like when Jack Perry came out on last week's episode of Dynamite, he was getting a lot of cheers and chants. Like the he's our scapegoat. That was a big chant around Daly's place. And
Yeah.
I know it's Daly's place. If you can get that crowd, that AEW faithful, to get behind you when you haven't been there for 8 months, then you're doing something right.
I think it's more than just the faithful behind it. It's also even some regular wrestling fans who are just not fans of, who maybe not been watching AEW a lot. Because I'll be honest, the slight, I'm going to deride a little bit. The fact that even the CM Punk diehards can't defend this shows you exactly that, despite no matter how loyal you are to Punk's actions and the fact that he's not getting the pops that you thought he was going to get when he returned at Survivor Series, and the fact that Jack Perry in Chicago at a New Japan event where Chicago was supposed to have the most passionate fan base in the world, the fact that half of that arena was on the side of Jack Perry really shows you that, not to say CM Punk's in the wrong, but he's definitely not in the right with some of his statements. And CM Punk is not infallible as he was in the past. And the reason why is because for the longest time, wrestling has always been constantly dominated by WWE, and the narrative has always been pushed by Vincent McMahon. But now that you are having more outside voices come in, more other and different opinions, and Vince being really shown how much of a grip and iron fist he had on the narrative for so long being weakened, even wrestlers back in the day that we were childhood idols of, like Undertaker, Kane, Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold, The Rock, Triple H, even if you look back during the early days, like Harley Race, Ric Flair, Gorgeous George, Macho Man, like so many wrestlers that we idolize, even now we're starting to see faults in their characters. And to me, CM Punk, he is kind of the last bridge of that, to where now, I'm not saying no wrestler is ever going to be not wrong. There's few wrestlers who've gone through this grinder and come out clean. To me, I think Sting is one of them, but even Sting has had his faults. So it just shows to me that with Jack Perry, despite people's initial anger reaction to it or hesitancy, it's paying off.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Real life controversy can really drive an angle.
Yeah, and I said it when they first said they were going to air the footage. I didn't agree with it. I was like, why are you going to do this? Just because, you're going to take time away from storyline potential. But the great thing they did was they created a story by using that footage. They showed the footage. They had the Young Bucks tie that into their story with FTR. And that is now tied in directly to the return of Jack Perry, which is the perfect way to do this. Take something that a lot of people see as a negative, which I did as well, and then turn it on its head and use it for a storyline purpose.
Yeah, I did not think that was a good idea as well. And I thought the whole thing was going to be a hoax. But
so did I.
Even when so many other like sources were saying, "Oh no, that footage is real," I'm just thinking to myself, "Oh, they might just show a small segment, or they'll just show an image and then do like play-by-play commentary to make a big joke out of it." But the fact that they devoted that time towards it and let the footage speak for itself, which was interesting.
Yeah. So I really love this idea floating around that we're getting an elite takeover of AEW, and that this could possibly lead to Blood and Guts, where Tony Khan gets 5 of his wrestlers to go up against the elite. Because I would do it where you have Okada, you have the Bucks, and you have Jack Perry, and I would add Hangman Page to them.
If he does come back.
I know they said that he was suspended, but that it doesn't mean he's not,
Well, yeah, it wasn't the same as with Kenny where they said he was fired from there. So.
And the whole thing is that Hangman could come back pissed off that Swerve is champion, and maybe have Swerve as the world champion go into Blood and Guts as the leader for Team AEW, and then you have them face off against each other again. It's not a one-on-one match, but you're still continuing that kind of
Overarching story.
Hangman. Yeah, that Hangman and Swerve are kind of circling each other. That's what I would do, because that could lead to a really good 5-on-5 blood and guts match that really has a lot of stakes, which we haven't really seen. Like, we've seen faction versus faction, which is okay, but to see this type of stakes where the Elite are trying to take over the show, that could be a really good way to kind of push this blood and guts. Hell, maybe even have it on a pay-per-view where it's not just its own Dynamite episode, but you have the blood and guts match on a pay-per-view.
Well, that's what I'm thinking as well. Like either blood. I mean, Double or Nothing come up. I doubt they're gonna kick it off that early. I think it could be saved to All In, or maybe, or they might or it might just. I mean, if it is gonna be a Dynamite episode, it's gonna have to be one dedicated in between, like within July or June, because I know that they have Fight for the Fallen and Fire Fest, but they're now like special events now. If they were able,
or if you don't want to do blood and guts, you do at All In. You do a which I don't know if you want to do All In
or the Stadium Stampede.
Yeah, I was gonna say do that, but I don't know if you want to have Swerve not defend his world title.
No, that's why I'm thinking that no matter what, I believe Swerve, he's going to collide with the Elite. But as we're going to talk later on with this week's Dynamite episode, there's definitely plans happening with Swerve's reign. But as far as I'm concerned, I know Swerve, he's definitely sticking up there. That's why if Hangman does come back, Hangman will be that thorn in Swerve's side, which I think, in my own mind, it's going to play off somewhere.
Oh, yeah. So let's get into the opening of this week's Dynamite, of last night's Dynamite, which starts with the AEW World Champion Swerve Strickland coming out. We're going to find out who his opponent is. Well, actually, let's go on to the actual opening of the show, which I thought was so funny. Yeah. Tony Khan sitting in Jacksonville in the, I believe that's the Jaguar Daily's Place arena, because he's sitting at
he's in the
Skybox. Yeah, he's in the office area. And he says, welcome to Dynamite. I'm doing this from a remote location. And then all of a sudden, his mic and stuff starts to go blurry, or his mic starts to go off. The camera's blurry. Then all of a sudden, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson appear from behind the scenes. They're like, well, since Tony Khan's not here, he's not on premises, we now run the show. And they created the Dynamite intro with nothing but the Elite characters in it, which was fucking brilliant. I love the way that they opened up this episode.
Like I said, it fits 100% with their character. It's not just something random that so many people are going to argue for. And it's 100%. It shows that they are now fully leaning into their characters taking control, taking creative and power on the AEW, to which it's going to affect. And even then, you do see like the clips are showing of Okada, the Bucks, Jack Perry, and maybe sooner or later, if Hangman does join them, he'll be included into this. So it right now, as this new chapter of the Bucks is going. Now they're tag champions. Okada has the Continental crown. Who knows what the plan for Jack Perry is right now? If he's just going to be their wild card or their ace in the hole. But I think right now with Jack Perry, I think he's in a good position to where he doesn't need to challenge for a belt. He's actually at this point, before then when he was Jungle Boy, there may have been a chance for him to like maybe need a championship, like when he turned heel for the first time. But right now, I think him as a scapegoat, he does not need a championship.
I think the perfect person for Jack Perry to go up against is Adam Copeland. Have him go for the TNT title, because you see what Cope said after the CM Punk interview. He came out, he rallied the troops. He's the guy who he is almost like a locker room leader that people are looking up to. He's not a proclaimed locker room leader, whatever. He's the veteran. He has the kind of experience, and he wants to bring up those guys. So what a great person to have Jack Perry beat for his first TNT title than someone who is going to defend AEW like that. And someone who defended AEW from a Punk promo as well. And I think that would all tie in perfectly.
Also, I think tying in with some of Jack's promos he did later on in the show, like especially after the ending segment of Dynamite and the opening segment of Rampage, Copeland does make more of a sense because Jack Perry believes that these certain figures are no longer needed in AEW, and
Yeah.
Copeland stepping up to be the lead locker room leader. He feels like he is definitely on Jack Perry's radar.
Yeah, and you could even, I don't know if I would do this personally, but knowing the type of character Jack Perry is, he could be like, well, we had one locker room leader that disappointed us. Why would you be any different?
Yeah.
So the whole idea of kind of like what Eddie Kingston did with CM Punk when he came in, talking about like, dude, we know your history. No one in the locker room likes you. What are you doing here? That whole thing that we heard kind of mirror that, but Jack Perry saying, dude, I don't want you here. I've already dealt with someone from that company.
I think a little funny thing is that as far as Punk goes, looking at his time in AEW, man, some of the earlier promos really did tell his downfall, or at least like what his new attitude was when he came back during the Collision, during the early era of Collision. So it's just I don't know. I'm not gonna say karma. It's dramatic irony. And I'd want to go more into it, but then I'd be just taking more time away from it. And then people are going to complain, oh, go more into it. I'm like, no, you can go after me on Twitter. I don't use it anyway. But you can just go on me on Twitter. It's like, what do you mean by dramatic irony? Look up dramatic irony. And then if you want to, which you won't because you're such anti-AEW shills, actually watch Punk's era in AEW, the promo battles he's had. And then look, not just the promo battles, but the promos he's done, and then tell me if you don't sense like a little some sense or some logic.
Look, I'm somebody who, and I think I texted you this on Monday when I was watching Raw. I was like, I just don't care when Punk is on TV anymore. Like I just kind of want to skip through his segments because I just, all the stuff that happened backstage. I don't care anymore.
Yeah,
but the fact that we had not only one promo from Eddie Kingston talking about that, but we had the Hangman segment about that. We had the MJF promo about that. That like no one in the locker room wants you here. It's kind of a repeating thread.
They're definitely speaking from their experiences because there were wrestlers, at least on social media, that talked about how they had some positive interactions with Punk. And look, I'm really not trying to come off of anti-Punk here. I've said this to some friends. I've said this on. I may have said this to you on when we talk online. But to me, Punk, he's to me at this point the aura or the allure of Punk is just. It's gone from me. I just see Punk once again as just another flawed individual who's not practicing what he preaches. So
I don't care when he's on TV anymore. Yeah. And that's kind of sad. I used to be a fan of him.
Yeah, with me on Punk, it's kind of like at this point, in my eyes, if he's able to not get his mouth into trouble, which unfortunately he did this past WrestleMania weekend, he could have been able to at least maybe rebuild his image a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if he's gonna be this shit talker dropping these pipe bombs, he's better off as a heel as far as when it comes to WWE is concerned. But at the same time, Drew McIntyre, he's been fucking entertaining.
He's so good.
So honestly, Punk, he's in this situation to where either he needs to really know how he's gonna present himself on television, because wrestling is all perception, and how you are being perceived is going to interpret. I don't know what I forgot the word. It's going to tell how you're. Sure, he's got fans out there. I will not take away. If you like Punk, Punk is your guy. That's one thing I'm not taking away. I'm just saying. Sometimes when you have wrestlers you look up to, you have idols. Don't be so blinded by their faults.
Mm-hmm.
Hell,
and again,
I like in this industry who I see. I'm like, there's some times where I think they should not have said this, or they should have not taken that approach. I'm a proud AEW fan, and there are some times where I'm seeing Tony Khan on social media where I'm like, Tony, stop tweeting or stop making these emotional responses no matter what inside information you had. Either it was towards Rossi or this past NFL weekend. I'm just like, keep your mouth shut, because it takes because he has fallen out of favor with certain wrestlers and talent. And I'm not talking about on the other side, but just talent that did not sign up or talent that he had on his roster that quit because of his mouth.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I'm not saying that all of this was on Punk. It's not.
No,
I think everyone had a problem.
There is a lot to blame here. There was a failure on management, a failure to bring people together. Sure, Tony Khan, of course, everyone's going to point to Tony as the boss. Like, you're the boss, get them in line. But at the same time, they're all adults here. The fact that nobody decided to be an adult and step up and try to resolve things. That's the common denominator. Nobody was being the adults.
Mm-hmm. So let's move on to
this, and let's talk about something good, which was the opening segment with our champion Swerve coming out, wanting to find out who's going to challenge him at Double or Nothing. But then I feel like when in his before he finds out, he still says, "I stand by what I said." The Bucks, what they did was a bitch move.
Bitch move, yeah. So he said, what the Elite did last week was a bitch move, which will be handled eventually.
Yes.
Which sets up a lot of potential matchups in the future. I love this line. He said, tonight is about learning who my opponent is for Double or Nothing, and said, whomever it is, wipe your feet before entering Swerve's house. Fucking banger of a line right there. He gets interrupted by the Young Bucks. Oh, go ahead.
Man.
Sorry,
No, I was agreeing with you 100%.
Oh. So yeah, the Young Bucks interrupt him on the big screen and said that success has gotten to Strickland's head and badmouthing the EVPs on his first night as or his first promo as champion. Even using a curse word, which is a fine. It's so good. And says the Buck says his opponent is one of Canada's finest, a former world champion, and says to hit the music. Everyone expected Kenny Omega, but it was Christian Cage in the Patriarchy who came out to the ring. As Excalibur said, his mind went to only one place, and we were all swerved in a sense. Tony Schiavone said if anyone deserves a world title shot, it's Christian Cage. So Christian grabs the microphone, thinks like he's going to do a promo, and then hits Strickland in the face with it. Nick Wayne and Killswitch attack both Strickland, and Nana takes a bump here.
Yeah.
Christian hits the kill switch on Strickland on the AEW title, grabs the mic and says he never forgets. Cage brought up Strickland's breaking into Nick Wayne's. He said his son Nick Wayne's gym last year and busting him open. Yeah. He also hasn't forgot about teaming with Strickland at All In London, and they lost, resulting in Strickland's embarrassing Cage. Instead of apologizing, Strickland went and won the world title, so now it's time to pay for those mistakes. Fucking love these small things that they always bring back up. I didn't even bring up the fact that Swerve and AR Fox attacked Nick Wayne at his house in his home gym. Yep. And I knew about the All in London connection, but I was like, yo, that's so smart. They teamed up Christian with Nick Wayne. That way when Swerve won the world title, an automatic first feud that makes sense is Christian Cage.
Exactly. Not only that, but I said this in our chat that I said this when we were talking that if Swerve's title reign is going to be an amalgamation of opponents that he fucked over when he was a heel, that definitely tells a long overarching story for his feud. Because as about how people felt about how MJF's feud title reign ended, the overarching story of his title reign was fantastic. How as a heel, he started off as just someone willing to hire people to do his own dirty work, not willing to make his opponents go through hoops just to have one match against him. That we saw that with Bryan Danielson. Then with the Four Pillars match, every one of those men had legit reason to challenge MJF, and then MJF tried to cut corners or find ways to get out of it. That didn't happen. But then when the whole thing with Adam Cole came around, the Better Than You Baby, we were seeing changes in MJF. Not only to his personality, but it changed to his wrestling style. So after No, actually, Joe was that was the Grand Slam. That was after All In. So, but when it was building up to All In, and he offered Adam Cole the main event,
Yep.
and then you were seeing changes in his personality to where he was wrestling, pulling off more riskier moves. He not only did the 5 minutes, but he's like, this match doesn't end until we have a winner. And then came afterwards where MJF is a little changed a bit. He's still the scumbag, but you saw, if people were not paying attention, MJF had a overarching storyline in that lasted from Full Gear of 2022 all the way to World's End.
So with that one, I kind of saw it as kind of a Darby Allin, or not Darby Allin, but Orange Cassidy international title situation where after every defense, MJF was slowly starting to get injured, but he wanted to come up in every single defense, even his defense against Jay White. He was injured.
Well, I think that it was getting more like that after he fought Samoa Joe. They were playing more into that. But at first, he was staying true to him. But during that first round, from New Year's Eve, New Year's Smash to Revolution, he was still the MJF character, pushing things at a distance. And then by time from Revolution to Double or Nothing, it was like the problem was coming to his front door. So he tried to skate by it, didn't happen. And even then, the matches, the Iron Man match he had against Danielson, the fucking Four Pillars match, you see MJF, he is pushed to the limit. He's pushed to his breaking point to where he is pulling out any trick, every trick in the book to win, and he's able to skate by. So by the time All In came in, when he was wrestling more respectably, not willing to do cheap shots. I mean, that double Eddie Guerrero thing from both Adam Cole and MJF still cracked me up when I watched it.
So good.
So but then when it came down with him after Samoa Joe, after that, of course the introduction of the Devil, it was still a great thing where we're seeing MJF being more of like the fact that he went to Wrestle Dream to defend tag team championships in a handicap match should tell you that this guy is changing more and more into a babyface.
Yeah, but going back to this opening segment, Killswitch fucking rips the dread from Strickland's head and presents it to Nick Wayne. Fucking savage, man. My question is, what are they doing with Luchasaurus? Because there was a moment where it seemed like he was going to turn on Christian. Christian said something to him, and it just kind of seemed to be like dropped or forgotten.
Yeah. I think there was a plan with Luchasaurus. I mean, the fact that he's being rebranded as Killswitch. I think there is a slow plan to have him finally turn on Christian Cage. Because let's be honest, even in this promo, Killswitch really wasn't mentioned a lot. I mean, sure, he talked about Nick Wayne, and of course, Mother Wayne was mentioned. But Killswitch at this point, he's nothing more. He's become an afterthought to Christian Cage. So I do believe by the time we do get to Double or Nothing, we are going to finally get that turn from Luchasaurus onto Christian Cage, and that might start the small feud that could build maybe to Fyter Fest or Fight for the Fallen. I mean, if they really do take their time with this, I think it can get to All In, where All In or All Out, where Luchasaurus will go one-on-one against Christian Cage.
Yeah, so I'm very interested to see what they do with this. I think Christian Cage is the perfect first challenger for Swerve. I actually have a great idea. I don't know how Keith Lee is doing physically, but if there's a way to bring him back for like maybe sometime down the line to challenge Swerve for the world title and just have him be like, yo, I didn't forget what you did to me. You took me out with a foot stomp with cinder blocks. I don't care that you changed your mentality. You're still the guy that cost me a few months of my career.
But even then, even before they were going to have that proposed match at World's End, but then Keith had to drop out, unfortunately, because of health issues. And
that's what
I would definitely love to see him come back. That's why I'm hoping if he does return in between Double or Nothing and All In or All Out, I'd like to see him be set as the next opponent to Swerve. Because one thing that's been bothering me when Swerve won the title, so many before at least the Dynamite, before last week's Dynamite,
I know where you're going with
I
this.
saw so many people online go immediately like Swerve should not have gotten that belt because he's now just a transitional champ for Ospreay to win it All In.
No.
I don't believe that. I personally think Swerve, he's going to hold that belt for a good run, and hopefully, and this also leads to my thing with Ospreay winning the Gauntlet match. I hope he does set to win the international title because
He
then,
will.
well, not just yeah, of course he will, but also him winning the international title will give him so much other reasons to wrestle in other tour dates. I mean, like use the international title to wrestle internationally because I don't know if you know, but there's this one. If there's this I believe this Ugandan wrestling
Yeah, I saw that with
wrestling,
Mason Mansour.
yeah, Mason Mansour. Not only that, but then Will Ospreay also
Donated a ring, right? He bought them a ring.
He donated money for a ring, and it would be so good to see Will Ospreay take that international title to Soft Ground Wrestling, bring more exposure.
That'd be cool,
and actually elevate one of their talent to wrestle against him for that title. Kind of like what Pac was doing when it was the All Atlantic Championship. He was defending it in other promotions, so you can still feature him on Dynamite or Collision, but it's kind of like it, but also doesn't break his work visa.
Yeah, that was not where I thought you were going with this situation. The fact that like after a week with the title, everyone was like, "Oh, Swerve Strickland's already an afterthought as world champion." Because I'm like, dude, yeah, he didn't have a 20-minute promo like some champions do, like previous AEW champions did, but that's not the type of champion Swerve is. Swerve is someone who wants to wrestle. So why not have him have his first week as a world champion? Hey, Kyle Fletcher, you're on a roll. You're a champion. I'm a champion. Proving ground match. Let's do it.
And then
let's go 20 minutes.
And then he had that fantastic match against Claudio Castagnoli on Collision.
On Collision, yeah.
I mean, he's going. I mean, I understand people don't want. People have this narrative to where the world champion shouldn't be. Once you're the world. Once you have the world title, you shouldn't wrestle immediately after a pay-per-view, which I think is bullshit. If you book it right and you do it properly, someone like Swerve Strickland who says he wants to wrestle, redo his image. Because if people forgot, in one of his promos, he did say that the thing that Christian brought up, he said that his daughter doesn't recognize him anymore. So guess what? That to me, that's his motivation. He wants to.
I forgot about that line.
Yeah. He wants to remake his image to a wrestler his daughter can be proud of. So when Christian did bring back this, like, Christian, your daughter, well, he says to Swerve, I don't have it word for word, but I'm looking at my notes. Not only will your daughter have a champion to be proud of, but she will have a father to be proud of. Like, so Christian's good. Back on that. Christian's back on that bullshit. But it's their dead parents.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. So yeah. The fact that, like, I was one of those people who were like, maybe he'll lose it to Ospreay at All In. But then when Ospreay won the Gauntlet match, I was like, this is smart. Yeah. Give him the international title. Have him elevate that title to the clearly second or third main belt in the company.
Yeah.
And have him
like
just...
how Cassidy did before that string of bad luck with the title came.
Yeah. Have him just go and wrestle and make stories with that title, because at All In, you can book an international title match as one of the co-main events and just sell it as the fact that Ospreay is defending the title.
Yeah, because to me, Ospreay got his big crowning moment at All In. Sure, it was against Jericho, which it wasn't the match people were hoping for, but that was still an entertaining match, and he was still one of New Japan's top guys wearing the IWGP UK belt, a belt that he had rechristened from the US belt, which showed some of Ospreay's power. So Ospreay going in as international champion would be fantastic. That way, that the doors are opened for a new challenger for Swerve. So personally for me, if he is healed by that time, I'd love to see Swerve and Keith Lee main event All In. Because me as a black man, I would love to see that.
That's so cool.
But I would not be surprised if he's not healed by then. That it could be Hangman for the main event.
Can I say something?
Or they would incorporate Jack Perry into the main event as kind of a fuck you to people who were like, Jack Perry was in that pre-show, the whole thing that derailed his career. Guess
Literally,
what? He's now in the main event.
He's the main event. So, another person that I would love to see Swerve defend the title against, Brian Cage. Have Brian Cage be so sick that the Mogul Embassy is not riding the success of Swerve as champion, and Swerve is like leaving them in the background, that he becomes this massive heel, this massive mountain that Swerve now has to figure out a way to beat.
I think so, because later on in the night he had a match against Claudio Castagnoli, and of course because Nana was hurt, Nana didn't come out with him.
Yep.
So this would fit very well with Brian Cage. Like, he separates himself from Mogul Embassy. He's definitely finally gonna focus. He's gonna focus more of himself to be.
Hell, I would have him bring the Gates of Agony with him as his backup. That way.
I know the Gates of Agony. They've been doing a lot of stuff in New Japan.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe down the line, if they come back.
I agree with you. They should bring this back with Mogul Embassy, especially if the Elite is going to target him, or the fact that Swerve said later in the, at least on Rampage, that he wanted to face a one-on-one with Christian Cage, but he was not going to be alone.
Who do you think is going to be by his side?
I feel it's going to be Agony. I think it's going to be the Mogul Embassy, and maybe we might get that turn there.
I kind of think, and this is going to sound weird, I kind of think it's going to be the Motor City Machine Guns. I heard they were signing with AEW.
I believe
the Machine Guns. The Machine Guns do have a history with Christian Cage.
That's going to be safe
for
something else. I think that's going to be safe for something special. Maybe they'll be the ones that challenge the Elite, but
I can see that as well. But I mean, I hate when people immediately said that Swerve was going to be an afterthought, but now we're coming up with like so many different storylines that you can connect. Hell, you can connect AR Fox in a championship match if you want.
A proving ground match, like AR Fox is like, we got unfinished business too, and Swerve and it was going to be me and you going up against Sting and Darby Allin, but then
me and you against the world.
Yeah, I was gonna be there at All In at one of the biggest events in Wembley Stadium for this company. You could even
bring up their history from Lucha Underground. Be like, you were Killshot.
They definitely can tie into that. That's one thing I thought with AR Fox that was a missed opportunity. I mean, I understand the reason why he couldn't go to All In at Wembley was because his grandmother had died, so we needed time to grieve. Yeah. And they gave him that time. But when he came back, though, I was kind of surprised that he wasn't used in some way to back up Darby Allin during Darby Allin's rivalry with Christian. But hopefully, hopefully they don't forget that thread. That Swerve has a lot of people that he is screwed over and he is pissed off during his time.
I kind of think your theory on like Swerve having to repent all the shit that he did when he was a bad guy, that shit is going to have a long thread of enemies waiting to get back at him.
All right.
So let's move on to our first match of the night for the TNT Championship. Adam Copeland taking on Buddy Matthews.
That
fucking hell of a match.
And I love that the whole tease of the House of Black was, you're going to face one of us. And I love that they're still holding off. They're holding off on Malachi. And I even liked in that little opening, I'm hearing I think it was Brody's voice. And I'm thinking, he's going to fight Brody King. But Buddy Matthews comes out. And Buddy does not disappoint. He brought the fire to Adam. And Adam, I swear to God, there were times Adam, he was literally his back up against the wall. I liked how, not desperation, but you felt a sense of rage bubbling in Adam every time Buddy.
The commentary brought that up, that he was getting more aggressive in the ring.
Yeah, especially they brought in the Black Mist thing, which, hey, you were right. The Black Mist looks like it might be corrupting Adam Copeland. Which to me, I thought it would have been a little too rushed because Adam already brought that aggressive side in him during his rivalry with Christian. So I thought it would have been a little too quick.
But that was personal. The Black Mist has a way of bringing out a seemingly more aggressive side. Like, you could tell that Copeland was kind of holding back because he was friends with Christian Cage, but there was a point that like he kind of crossed. The Mist unlocks your full aggression.
Well, I wasn't sure about full aggression, but you know what? But it makes a sense. Yeah, it does bring you. It does not a cinch, but it does unlock a more subdued side of you. And there was a lot that he was subduing within himself. That by the time he finishes that, and I love the end of the match though. We're seeing Buddy Matthews tries to do a Meteora that gets reversed. I mean, he dodges out the way. Buddy Matthews wins to. I forget the finishing move he does. But then Adam reverses that, throws him into the ropes for a quick mid-speed spear for the win. And I loved at the end of the match.
There was also a moment where they hit a double cross body on each other.
Yes.
And I don't know if this is real or not, but he starts spitting up blood.
I noticed that too, but I'm like to myself, man, I hope that's just a blood capsule because that's good storytelling. Yeah. And of course, towards after that match is over, you do see Adam. He's like, he looks like he wants to walk away, but he can't. And he grabs those chairs, and he's going for the concerto. Lights go out. I love how Malachi pops in, and he's just like standing there. Do it. And then Buddy gets up, and he's like, hit me. Do it. And
my brother said he looked like Ken Shamrock asking Rock to hit him with a chair.
But it was good. I love the fact that it's not like the whole thing when Malachi did that. I think I came across some commenter when they were playing a clip. It was like, was this like kicking Buddy out? But then it's like, no, Buddy just gets up and he goes, no, hit me. Because that was the whole thing with the House of Black. They wanted you to embrace that violence. It's especially what they did with FTR, during their feud, or with Mark.
Can I say something? House of Black are doing the Embrace the Hate storyline way better than Kane ever did.
Well, no, you have a strong point there. I would never say it's hate, but hate is a part of their thing. Like, embrace that violence.
I love the end of this match because Buddy Murphy hits a GTS on Copeland.
Oh boy.
and then tries to go for a curb stomp. Shout out to his Monday Night Messiah. But then he blocks, and then Copeland connects with the spear for the win.
Yes. And then afterwards, when that was over, I liked the interview with Copeland. Like, even he was a little dazed, like he wasn't exactly sure what was going on with him. Then when Kyle comes up to say he gets his back, he
looks so weird.
Guy with the beard and the frizzled hair.
No, I mean, like the way he was acting, he was like, thanks, Kyle. Like he just seemed, the way he was talking, he seemed off.
Well, I think that was the whole point. He's out of it. Like, he's kind of at war with himself. And then I love that when he's talking to Kyle, he knows that Kyle's looking at the top. He's like, hey, eyes up here, buddy. And he's like, I appreciate you having my back. And then, of course, he said next week he's got Brody King. So I do believe, we are going to get Malachi and Adam Copeland at Double or Nothing. Because, honestly, I think if it's more Malachi's character for him to draw things out. While Buddy and Brody, they are definitely guys that want to just like they're kind of like bulldozers. They want to get things over, while Malachi is willing to wait for that long time. And also, if Malachi really is kind of limited on not doing a lot of singles matches, this is kind of a good way to really draw this out, really draw out this little corruption that's happening within Adam. Yeah.
I also wonder if maybe, I've also pondered this, maybe instead of the Black Mist making Copeland more aggressive, it makes him more paranoid that like everyone's after him now. Because you see
the champion,
the fact that he's champion, everyone is a target on him
anymore.
That's what I'm thinking. Where it's like he's like, dude, I can't trust anybody anymore. So I don't know what's gonna happen. Because then you can kind of have a great kind of thing where like even people who he respects and they respect him, he could kind of pushed him away because it's like, I don't trust you. You're after my title.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe that's the whole point of the House of Black, is like kind of separating Copeland from everybody.
I do like that theory. And hell, I mean, we got till now an all in or all out
Oh
for
yeah.
maybe a potential tease of Adam and Christian versus the Bucks. So who knows? I mean, like this is just me this is me spitballing, okay? I'm not saying it's going to happen, but
Would the Bucks be the face in that situation?
no. Here's the thing. No, I'm just
Oh.
spitballing here because I just remember during their feud, Adam said he came back because he kind of wanted to finish his career with Christian
Mhm.
with them as a team. So I'm not saying honestly, it's gonna take a miracle of storytelling between now and August to really turn Christian face because he's done a great job as a heel. I'm just saying that if there is a proposed idea of or a fantasy out there that's in motion, a plan that's in motion of having Adam and Christian versus the Bucks, then there's definitely going to need to be some very masterful storytelling to really
Yeah.
pull that trigger. That's all I'm just saying.
If it was me, I would never turn Christian into a face. I would just have him make fun of people's dead parents forever. All right, let's move on to Samoa Joe versus Isaiah Cassidy. This was a very fun quick squash match with one of the best walk-offs I have ever seen. Cassidy going for the tope suicide.
Mid-row suicide, yeah.
Yeah. And Joe just walks off and he just splats on the fucking floor. Oh, it's so good. I love when Cassidy does his high-pitched scream. The flap check was hilarious.
Like, I swear to God, there are some people I think that when I see that, I just go, how can you not laugh at the fact that Cassidy, no matter who he goes up against, well, not no matter who, but when he's in a situation where he is thrown out, like when he's not ready for it, that high-pitched scream comes by, and I just go, man.
Dude, the one he did when Keith Lee debuted, and he
Oh,
just
yeah.
looked him. So funny. So yeah, Joe won with the Muscle Buster. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying it works so well, like in those rare moments, or when he's like just thrown up in the air, like in a bit of a gorilla press,
Mm-hmm.
or a monkey flip.
All right, are you ready to move on?
Yeah, let's move on. Yeah, there's really nothing of a highlight outside of the walk away, and this was really much just Joe getting back into fighting form.
Yeah. It was a good way to bring Joe back on TV after his AEW title loss.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I think I came across someone on social media was going, Joe should get an automatic rematch. I'm like, no, this is not WWE where rematches are there. I mean, they have to work to get it. Either if it's through the standings or not, they have to work to get back to that road.
Exactly. So we get a video package from Sky Blue challenging Willow for the TBS title on Rampage that night. Then, I don't know if this is real or not. Orange Cassidy makes his way to the ring, says he hates this. He thought Chuck and Trent fighting last Saturday would have got it all out of their systems and they'd be best friends again. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
As Cassidy was informed that his best friend Chuck Taylor will never wrestle again due to Beretta's post-fight attack with a pipe on Taylor's ankle.
Yeah.
Is this real? Is he?
I honestly think that is a work, but I think it's just to make more of the whole Trent's heel turn much more personal. The fact that Chuck is no longer involved, like he's storyline retired, and then of course later in the night, Rocky Romero, I mean at least at Rampage, Rocky does say that he's also washing his hands of this. He's going to focus on himself. And Chris Statlander, she's clearly separated from this group for right now. I mean, she's not separated. She's still with an attachment through Orange Cassidy. But it does seem that she has split loyalties with Cassidy and with Willow. So the disillusion of the best friends is becoming more and more real. So I know this is going to collide. This is definitely going to happen with Trent and Orange in a big match. But when that happened, I mean, Trent comes out. Of course, he does the whole "you're making it about yourself." But that was interesting when they were in that little pull apart, who comes out to console Orange Cassidy? Don motherfucking Callis.
What do you think about that? I don't like the idea of Orange Cassidy going with
He's
Don
not.
Callis.
No. This is a plan. This is definitely a plan in Don's mind. I think it's going to be Trent. I think Trent, he's going to be the one to join the family because they are teasing that Will Ospreay is definitely becoming more like he's starting to separate from the Don Callis family. Who knows if Kyle's going to join him? So I think in the meantime, Don Callis is going to need a very really freshly aligned heel to be a part of his family.
Mm-hmm.
Because Takeshita, unfortunately, he has commitments in Japan that he can't always be at Dynamite. And now with Will Ospreay, with Hobbs hurt, he is off the board for right now. So I think Trent is going to be the one to join the Don Callis family.
That would make sense. I'm looking up on Fightful to see if they have any updates on if this Chuck Taylor retirement is real or not. I can't find anything on it just yet. Because there are some people saying it's real and that he wants to retire and this is a good way to write him off.
I mean, in a way, if he doesn't want to keep wrestling anymore, this is kind of good. It fits more within the story that has been. I mean, he and Trent were partners before AEW when they were tag team champions in Ring of Honor. And seeing the fact that it's Trent that just wants to start a new slate, and that parking lot brawl, which is something that the best friends have always had, like some of their more climactic feud matches in. That feels like another good way to close the chapter on that story. So if Chuck really is like for real wants to, retire from in-ring wrestling, that is a good way to write him off.
Yeah. So then we go to Renee at backstage with the Young Bucks. They ask how her family and how is John doing, and Nicholas said that they had don't have enough time for her to answer that question. They said that they've had too much TV time tonight, so they're going to give some to their friend, the scapegoat, Jack Perry, who walks in. Jack said last week he did what was best for AEW. As Tony Khan made him the scapegoat, it was a sacrifice he was willing to make, as sacrifices should be made by everyone, as we are now in the era of the elites.
Yeah.
All right. So next we move on to the For the World Championship match, as Chris Jericho would call it. The champion Chris Jericho takes on Katsuyori Shibata in FTW rules. This match was fun, man. Like, the spots that Jericho took, the hockey pucks instead of the fucking thumbtacks was hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, this Jericho's one thing, he's definitely really leaning hard into this. I mean, he's always committed very well, but definitely but before then, when he was with the Jericho Appreciation Society, he always gave himself a different moniker, a different nickname.
Yeah.
At least with this one now, he is definitely gonna commit to one thing, and that's being this veteran who's trying to give back to the locker room. This definitely feels like it's really not. It's not thick. It's not subtle. It's a huge satire and play on wrestling veterans that always say they want to give their knowledge, they want to inspire, they want to give back to the young guys in the locker room. But of course, wrestling's an industry of ego to where it's hard to do that. So I like the fact that Jericho, he's kind of making a parody of that with his new character. And this match with Shibata was kind of fun. Not only from the puck spots, but when you put Shibata in that trash can in the corner, just smacking.
Shibata keeps walking.
No, I love the fact he's hitting at first, but then when Shibata's kind of like, this isn't hitting, hurting me. So he stands up, and I just love it. He's just like slowly walking towards him like he's Jason, and Jericho just swinging that cane. He's like the final girl trying to get some hit.
I love Jericho's face as he keeps hitting. He gets more and more scared, backed up in the corner, like, why is this not working? He just backs him up in the fucking corner.
And then does a headbutt with the trash can. I also love the spot where Shibata, like, you can see with oh my gosh, Shibata, man, he was giving Jericho the business with his chops and strikes.
Those fucking chops, man.
Jericho, his chest, his pecs looked like it was braised It looked like a flank steak, honestly. No, not a flank steak. It looked like just a New York strip steak, raw, and I mean it was raw as hell. And
Dude,
you can
during
definitely see,
picture in picture, they kept chopping each other for like 4 straight minutes throughout the picture in picture.
yeah. And then later, and then of course when Cassior was got the hold of two candlesticks, he just gives it to Jericho, sits down. And I just loved it. First, but then I loved the first hit he gives to Jericho. It was like a raw shot, and then Jericho's really protecting himself afterwards. But Shibata, he's like, but that's kind of two good different. That's good. That's some good storytelling there. Jericho's protecting himself while Shibata, he's like, they keep hitting me. It's not gonna do you any good. And I just love it. It was like, pa, pa,
Excalibur on commentary, bringing up the fact that this is probably how they were trained in the New Japan dojos to teach. Because that's how they, would train. If you wouldn't get your posture correct, they'd hit you with a stick to make sure that you get your posture correct when you're doing moves. So Shibata knew that, he knows how to take those shots. Jericho does not. The commentary, Taz and Excalibur are my favorite commentary duo right now. I love Taz gets the tee up joke of saying, "What the puck?" and Excalibur comes back with, "You only get one of those."
Mm-hmm. I think even during a bit of the match, when Taz was like, when they were talking with Taz got a little riled up a little bit and talking about almost like it was kind of for going how he wanted to go in, but then Taz is like, "No, I got bad knees and I got a bad back that he needs to get fixed."
Yeah.
And it was like really interesting there because I honestly don't think it's happening, but that storytelling that happened at Dynasty when Taz stood up from the commentary table to walk towards the ring, everyone thought he was going to get involved, but the truth was just to console Hook.
Mm-hmm.
And then just seeing him then with it definitely does tease to me that maybe Taz might find somebody to stay, kind of defend the honor of the FTW championship. That's what it's looking like to me, honestly. Because I don't think it's telling that Taz is gonna get back in the ring. He's not.
No.
At that point where his body is honestly it's worn out for him.
Who would you have Taz pick to kind of take the FTW title from Jericho? I mean, obviously the answer will be, Hook, but if you want to have somebody else, who would you pick for him?
I don't know how badly he's hurt, but I kind of would like to see Ricky Starks come back because he was an FTW title holder.
That's fair. And with Jericho now working with Big Bill, and Big Bill and Ricky Starks were former tag champions, you have that history there. I was going to say Powerhouse Hobbs, since he started off as a Team Taz guy.
Yeah,
maybe
but now
Taz
Hobbs
could recruit
hurt.
him.
Can't do anything.
Yeah. But then, dude, Shibata hitting a ripcord chop to Jericho's face at the end of the match was fucking sick. Big Bill runs in, chokeslam Shibata through the table, and Jericho covers and wins. Look, I know a lot of people are tired of Jericho, but this learning tree thing is working for me. And maybe it's just because it's something different. And it's like he's taking that negativity that he's getting online and he's hamming it up, or he's coming out, "Hi guys, how you doing?" Like, for the world. I did it for all of you. Like, he's projecting all the negative. He's turning it into a positive.
And the funny thing is that in ways he's kind of a heel, but he's doing the face thing. The fact he still comes out from the face side of the tunnel, that really is kind of like he has this
good
delusional. It's a delusion that's going on. If you can't see this, if people can't see this as a full-on parody and satire of veterans in the business, then yes, hell, we spent a freaking. I spent hours during our little review of Dynasty trying to figure out how many pay-per-views that Jericho had been on AEW, which we found out he was only not in 4. I mean, technically you don't count Fight for the Fallen and Fyter Fest, but outside of 2 pay-per-views, Jericho had been featured in so many AEW pay-per-views on their card. So this does feel to me Jericho, while it kind of feels like maybe overexposure or go away heat, which I didn't sense that during the match from the crowd. But Jericho,
you didn't or did?
No, didn't. I'm sorry. I did not sense that. Some people, it's going on social media.
During the Dynasty match?
No, I mean, well, like even then during this time with Hook before
Oh,
people
I was
thought
like, definitely go away Heat during the Dynasty match because they were like, please retire.
yes, there was that, but I meant for this match too.
Yeah.
I didn't see that. I mean, also
like
they were in
the
Canada,
audiences
so they were a
are.
big fan. But this was also in Canada, so
Yeah.
they're a passionate fan base. They were like behind Jericho and Shibata.
Yeah, it seems like this new learning tree character for Jericho is slowly starting to bring fans not back to cheer him, but
To invest behind him.
Yeah, getting the great response that they wanted. Where it's not go away Heat, it's just regular heel Heat.
Yeah. And with Big Bill on his side, I think this will work too. I think this time if Jericho does form a new faction, hopefully it's more with the members in the forefront instead of Jericho. Sure, Jericho's gonna be at the center, but kind of like with a tree with multiple branches, they're gonna represent.
He called Big Bill his big oak on his red oak.
Big redwood.
Redwood. Yeah, big redwood on Rampage, and I died laughing.
Yeah. That was good. I mean, I'm actually here for some tree puns if Jericho can do them right.
Definitely.
That's what I like. When there's a character with a comedy gimmick, if they're good with the puns, then I'm all for it. I mean, Becky did that good with her earlier years on SmackDown with the puns, and so I'm looking forward to it.
All right, let's move on backstage with Renee again. She's backstage with Willow, Chris Statlander, and Stokely Hathaway. Statlander apologizes for last week in trying to defuse the situation. Kat brings up that Sky Blue, as Nightingale says, she's in a fighting mood, and for Monet to not think she forgot about her, Nightingale will maim Blue tonight in Manitoba Massacre.
Yeah.
Stokely Hathaway saying he can't complain about Blue's comments since Tony Khan was taken out by the Young Bucks, and he said right after he said he was taken out by the Young Bucks before payday.
And I love with Stokely's character how he really he lays on thick. Like at the end, especially when it was revealed that Chris Statlander and Stokely were barred from ringside, I love his response where he goes, "What did I do besides my own actions? What did I do to deserve this?" And then I love when he walks off. Chris just says, "It was you brought this on yourself. You know you did.
It's always your actions, dude." I love Stokely Hathaway with Willow Nightingale. They are such a great team. But I'm gonna agree with everybody else who's been saying this. I have a sneaking suspicion that Chris and Stokely are secretly working with Mercedes.
Well, I don't know if they're working with her, but they definitely have their own agenda.
No, I think it's been a plan for a while that Statlander and Stokely are working under the CEO. Like they're working with Mercedes to blindside Willow.
I think
makes sense.
I honestly think, it's a good theory. I personally think Statlander and Stokely, they're working their own agenda. They're on Willow's side, but once she drops that title, they're gonna turn on her. That's what I think.
I have a feeling that Willow's going to lose the belt at Double or Nothing, but that's okay because. Yeah, because it will then lead to Statlander versus Willow, which again shows that the women's division, not all of their stories have to be revolving around titles, which is good. You can have great blood feuds, just like the men do, without titles. And if you kind of like what Deonna and Thunder Rosa are doing right now, there's no title on the line, but they've built up this storyline with them where it's like, oh, last week on Collision, Deonna attacked Thunder Rosa after their match. So now Deonna's going into a heel, which we saw on Rampage. So now that's a women's storyline that doesn't revolve around the world title or the TBS title. So if you have,
that's one thing I missed that I missed from earlier days of AEW, was actual feuds that weren't at least in the women's division, that weren't surrounding titles. Hopefully now, Thunder and Deonna, they are the perfect match for it. Especially with Deonna, she has legit reasons before turning on Thunder. Like she said in the interview, not just this one, but also on Dynamite, that she cleared the path for Thunder to win a Dynasty. She said she would have Thunder's back whether she liked it or not. Thunder didn't get the job done, and then Thunder wanted to blame Deanna for her problems when Thunder kind of brought this onto herself. And I like the fact that with Deanna, she's like, yeah, I'm feeling more like myself now, and just don't get on my bad side. I do like heel Deanna Purrazzo. To me,
I do too.
My only issue was that they really weren't doing much well with her as a face. They weren't. She got personality out. The problem I do see with when people like to say certain wrestlers can play a face. To me, it falls down to how you are writing and booking that person as a face. Because I have seen faces give promos like Deanna has done. I've seen faces kind of still dance that line of being a tweener, but still remain on the side of being a face. But like I said, it's just that delicate balance of them, like either like how they present themselves. Like I said, it's the perception. But I am 100% looking forward to this. I kind of hope, I think we talked about this a bit. I kind of like the idea of this as being a bet. I would agree, like this idea of being a best of 5 series between Thunder and Deanna.
Yeah. But like, again, going back to, Statlander versus Willow, you have set up enough time where Statlander could join up with Stokely as her manager and work with Mercedes, because then what that does, it elevates Chris Statlander because she's working with someone like a name of Mercedes, and it also will get the crowd behind Willow even more. And it's a feud that has been a few months in the making that doesn't need a title to tell its story. And Willow is so good at these hardcore type matches, which we'll see later on tonight on Rampage. This could be, make this, Willow and Chris in a non-sanctioned match. Go pretty much Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker.
I do agree.
Say, go out and fight.
We got ourselves like 2 good, big personal feuds in the women's division to really carry us over. So then the women's title and the TBS title can actually focus on, new blood and fresh blood, honestly.
And that's great because, yes, it will suck that Willow will have kind of a short reign with the title. But as a face, as over as she is right now, if you immediately put her in a feud with Chris where she wins, her momentum will keep her rolling forward, maybe even to challenging Toni Storm for the world title.
Well, as far as regarding Toni Storm with the world title, I think we should definitely transition into one of the matches that we had later on between Mariah May and Serena Deeb, which was to determine who would challenge Toni Storm. Oh my God! Yeah,
because that was the main event. Let's get to Claudio Castagnoli versus Brian Cage real quick.
Okay, yeah. Let's not skip that. Yes, let's not skip that.
So yes, this match was fucking great, man. 2 guys who should not be able to do what they do with their size, just saying, hey, go out and wrestle. Which I know a lot of people are like, well, see, AEW don't have storylines. You can have these matches where they don't have stories because this could lead to something else. It's a match that could lead to more stories.
Yes. One thing I did appreciate with this match, though, like I loved earlier on, people were doing the meat chants between Brian Cage and Claudio.
Yeah.
Once those died down, man, seeing Claudio and Brian Cage just go loose on each other was fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Dude, every time Brian Cage hits a 619, a Tiger Feint kick, it's so fucking impressive. And Claudio said, I will do you one better. I'll hit you with one as well.
And I'm liking this thing with Claudio. I mean, it definitely looks to me they're transitioning him to be more of a main player now. I mean, Moxie's with the IWGP title, and I don't know if Wheeler's still hurt, but I know Bryan Danielson's doing the storyboard hurt. So Claudio on his own could be good, where he's kind of just after that loss to Swerve, he is saying, and he had a fantastic promo after that match that was online. So I do love to see this idea of Claudio deciding he's slowly bit by bit going to build himself up. Hell, I would not be shocked if he challenges Okada for the Continental Crown title? Because he
Ooh,
fought in the Continental Classic.
I could see that. Going back to that promo that Claudio did, one of my favorite fucking lines he said, "I'm not your shiny new toy. I'm the wooden toy that just won't break."
Exactly.
Oh, it's so good.
And to me, I do feel like, you know what? I'm going to put this down in the books. I'm also going to say we're going to see Claudio and Okada face each other for the Continental title. Who knows when? Personally, I see that as a match for All In. But if it's set for Double or Nothing, or it's going to happen in between, I won't hate that either. But I know Claudio and Okada will tear the house down.
I think they're setting up for, which we'll talk about in a minute. I think they're setting up for Okada to defend the title against Omega at Forbidden Door.
Oh no! Wait, we actually don't know exactly about Kenny's condition yet. I don't think will.
If Kenny can take those fucking bumps, man, I'm pretty sure he's
he can.
Okay.
But at the same time, it's never been It's never been really revealed like how stressful his how big. It doesn't matter like how. My God, I'm trying to think of the word, but like how. Well, how much like pain he is from the the diverticulitis, like how stressed, like how, like how strenuous is. That's it. How strenuous it is. Sure, for that little segment, he took bumps, but the difference between
he actually took a lot more bumps than, like he took the chair shot to the ribs.
Okay, hold on. We're definitely getting ahead of ourselves here. Okay,
yeah.
Now Claudio,
this match was great.
Page had a great match. Claudio doing that swing was fantastic. He didn't go over 10. He kept it a nice between 5 and 10 rotations. Then went for that, I believe the sharpshooter. That was over, and then yes, we get the Serena Deep versus Mariah May. Which man,
first. We do get a Rocky Romero promo setting up him and Kyle O'Reilly for the Hour Rampage next.
Yeah, I know. That's the one I alluded to during our talk cast. Yeah, he's washing his hands of the best friends of Trent Beretta, and he's going to focus on himself. So, yeah, we get that match later on.
Do you think that he's legit like going to do his own thing? Because I would love to see a heel Roppongi Vice in the AEW tag division.
At this point, the fact that Hobbs is out. Will Ospreay's definitely going to be walking away. Trent or Hugh Roppongi Vice in the Don Callis family would make a lot of sense. So yes, that I do like Rocky Romero's promo, and I love the position he's in the company. You know, he's VP of AEW and VP in New Japan, and he's
he?
Yes,
a VP of AEW.
Well, I forget the exact title he has, but it's a VP. May have to look that up myself.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's in actual backstage position.
That's awesome.
Of both AEW and New Japan, so it is it's incredible, honestly.
Yeah, and then so yeah, while you look that up, then we get to our main event of Dynamite, which is Serena Deeb taking on Mariah May with Timeless Tony Storm and Luther in her corner. Tony Khan has booked the hell out of Mariah May.
Yes, he has. Mariah has gotten the best since the start of this year. Mariah has this slow build of her and Tony Storm's relationship to where now, like, she's in this great position to where she's really not only heavily involved in Tony Storm's story, but her being in the top 5 of contenders, her being in the top 5 standings, also, which I believe dictated dictated Tony. It's also dictating Tony Storm's decision making as well.
Yep, but also the fact that like Tony Khan not only just put her in one storyline, he put her in 2, because she's in the Tony Storm camp.
Yeah, okay. It says he is vice president in both promotions of New Japan and AEW.
Ooh, that's awesome. Great for Rocky.
Yes.
But the fact that he has put Mariah May in not only a storyline with Tony Storm, but mixing in that storyline with Mina from Stardom.
Yes.
Having them run at side by side. is awesome because it shows that he really does believe that Mariah May can take the title, can be world champion material. And you know what? I agree. I think Mariah May is awesome.
I did say Dynasty. If this is done right, we could see a good 2-3 month build of a storyline with Mariah May and Toni Storm. And the fact that at the end of this match, I love that the conclusion of this match, though, we do see Toni Storm throws in the towel for Mariah May. And I love how commentary plays off like, did she do that for the benefit of Mariah May, or did she do that so Mariah May wouldn't challenge her for the title? And then it also ties a little bit to her interview in the media scrum in Dynasty, where a reporter brought up that the fact that Mariah was in the top 5 standing, how would she feel if Mariah challenged her? And Tony's response was to walk off during the interview. So the fact that Mariah is in that top 5, she is a looming, lingering threat. And it's like playing the seed that Mariah's a lingering threat to Tony's eyes. And it's also playing perfectly well into what happened to Baby Jane or All About Eve storyline happening between the two of them, where the older veteran, the movie star, is fearful of the new upcoming star upstaging them. So it's great,
exactly,
multi-layer storylines all converging here. And I'm also looking forward to Serena Deeb involved in this, because I think with Serena Deeb, she's a great she's a great technical wrestler, great submission specialist. And so I'm looking so forward to seeing how she and Toni Storm are going to mix up in the ring. Because one thing with Serena Deeb that's sort of been lacking is just having her in a good program.
Yeah. Serena Deeb is awesome. I think the fact that they're kind of, and I mean this with all due respect, see what I did there? They are making her into the female version of Lance Storm. Not promo style, his promo style is kind of boring, but the more of when you're in the ring with this person, they make it feel like a fight.
And they're telling a story too. Like the moments of Mariah in that ring, when she puts Mariah into that Paradise hold. And then
Paradise Lock.
The Paradise Lock. And then more moments where she has Mariah like really in debilitating circumstances to where she is playing like a surgeon, really trying to cut apart this person. So I'm definitely looking forward to this match. Hopefully in between this time, we do get at least to see some more interactions. I mean, I don't know. It's my mind's gone endless.
This is a really great way to elevate your women's division. Yes. Because not only are we having a really good women's championship feud that's also going to layer into other stories, we have a great TBS title feud. Not only that, but we potentially have Willow versus Chris Statlander. We also have Thunder Rosa and Deonna Purrazzo doing their feud. So it's expanding out that now it's not just the women are getting 1 or 2 title matches at a pay-per-view. It may come down to where we get 3 women's matches on a pay-per-view. I mean, they gave this main event, I think, about 20 minutes, and they fucking delivered. It was an awesome match.
Like you said, it was the last match of the night. It was the main event of Dynamite, and they developed and they gave it its time.
And not only that, but this match main evented Dynamite, and the women's TBS title match main evented Rampage the same night.
Yeah, a lot of the women have definitely been getting more time on Rampage, is what I've been enjoying.
Yeah. All right, so let's get to the big moment. Kenny Omega's return. Justin Roberts always does the greatest introductions. I don't know where North Carolina started for Kenny Omega, but I want them to keep it forever because I love when he does that. So Omega comes out, takes the mic, said he's never been good at talking about injuries, but for a few months back, he was diagnosed with diverticulitis, and after spending 10 days in the hospital, he was informed that he was 24 hours away from dying.
Yes.
The doctors told him that he needs to get this handled because if not, it's a ticking time bomb as any blunt force trauma could kill him. Since that day, Omega said he had to stop watching because he was scared for the first time in his career, and it made him feel like a coward. Maybe this whole thing was to come out and say to the fans that he had to retire. Omega said that he turned on AEW for the first time a few weeks ago and watched Dynasty. Brought up Swerve making history, Bryan Danielson and Ospreay having one of the greatest matches of all time. Omega started shaking again and wondered if it was due to him being scared, but that's life. The reason he was shaking was due to withdrawal. Being the best is what fuels him, and he hates that he's been forgotten as the best wrestler in the world. Yeah. Omega made a promise to himself and the fans saying this isn't over until he exhausts all options, even if it's 1% chance. He brings up the Cosby bag again and says, on the topic of Cosby bags, he brings up the 2 shit bags in Matthew and Nicholas Jackson. What they forgot as EVPs is that there is another EVP, as he may be fired from the Elite, but they can't fire him as an EVP until someone says otherwise. Part of this company belongs to the best bout machine.
And before he can continue on, he is interrupted by the Rainmaker.
Oh my! I went so crazy, bro. Dude, this is a perfect way to do Okada Omega 4 on American soil.
Yeah, really give people a taste of what the
4 or 5.
No, 5. I believe 5 because they did 4 times in New Japan. The 4th time, Kenny won the IWG belt from.
That's right.
Yeah, because the first 2 times I believe it was first time I believe Okada won. Second time was a draw that led to the 3rd time at Wrestle Kingdom for the championship.
No. The 3rd match was them in the G1 Climax where Omega picked up the fall.
Okay.
And then the 4th one was Omega winning the title at Dominion.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, for the rubber match between... No, I think so, yeah. Honestly, the placement made me a little off between us, but no, yeah. Okada and Kenny at least had one over each other before Wrestle Kingdom for the 4th time. So, but even then, this is a great opportunity for AEW to do something that, and people are gonna, I don't give a damn what people say. They have an opportunity to do something that WWE failed to do between Nakamura and AJ Styles for WrestleMania 34. Really recapture some of the matches that they did in their time in New Japan. That when those two fought each other, when AJ and Shinsuke fought for the Intercontinental title at Wrestle
WWE title. Oh, Intercontinental. Sorry, Wrestle Kingdom. I thought you were talking about WrestleMania.
Yeah, I was about to say Wrestle Kingdom, and then you cut me off.
Sorry, I was like, I'm pretty sure it was the world title.
At Wrestle Kingdom, when they fought each other, it was a great back and forth match to show that how these two were showing storytelling in the ring, how they fought tooth and nail against each other. But then when we got that match at WrestleMania 34, didn't come up to par. So with Okada and with Kenny, especially I love how Kenny came up to me. He's like, "Look, you're here. You're with the Elite. Let's give these he's pretty much saying to him, let's give the people what we did in Japan. Give them another chance between the two of them." And then of course Okada, he's just like, "Sorry, no." Of course he speaks. First things first. Kenny first speaks Okada in Japanese, which was fantastic.
So good.
Approaching him with respect, and then goes to English. And then, of course, Okada just goes to English, and then he just retorts back to him. And, man, having Jack Perry jump Kenny from behind, you had a feeling it was going to happen, but also you felt, no, let's keep it on Okada and Kenny. But then, Jack Perry attacks him. They're bringing in the chair. Kenny fights back, does the fucking dragon soup, does the
Snapdragon.
Snapdragon, yes, not the dragon suplex, the Snapdragon. But I do love how Kenny, he's not trying to sell off that he's completely healed. No, he's still selling off that he still has that diverticulitis and he's in pain. He hasn't had that surgery. And I also do appreciate how Kenny sells it very well. He felt as if he almost, maybe he pulled he felt like he pulled a muscle there. So when he got up and led that huge opening for Jack Perry to just hit him with that chair. Well, first he gets Okada, and then Jack Perry hits him in the gut. which was
That
good.
scared me.
Yeah, and the way Kenny sold it too, he sold it like it was a sledgehammer. Like all the breath was taken out of him.
Yep.
And then of course the Bucks coming out trying to ward them off, thinking, "Oh no, they're
I love when the Bucks do this. What are you doing, man? Oh, we got to hit him anyway. Sorry, Kenny."
Yeah. But it's like, but the moment you saw Kenny just like go up and grab the Bucks' pant legs, I saw the moment he's like in that position. I'm going, it's coming.
Yeah.
But I like how with the Bucks, they're still trying to be like, oh no, we're businessmen. We're trying to do what's best for AEW. And then it's like, no, this is what's best for AEW. And comes the EVP trigger.
Yeah.
And then before they can do any more damage, we hear FTR. FTR comes out for some retribution, but then they leave. They escort Ken. Of course, I love how it bled from Dynamite to Rampage, though, which was a great connecting thread to when they're taking Kenny. They're wheeling Kenny out to the back, to the ambulance. But then guess what happens? It ain't over. They jump FTR. And man, how Kenny is selling him in pain, but also feeling helpless as Jack, Okada, and the Bucks are surrounding him. And then Matt just tells him, look, man, this is just business. We're here to change the world, right?
Change the world is what he said.
Yeah, this is how we change the world. And then they just knock over Kenny, like, man, landing blood onto that concrete floor.
And that's why I'm kind of on the feeling that Omega's cleared to wrestle. Because if he wasn't, if he was, say, 50% cleared, I doubt they would allow him to take a chair shot to the gut and that fucking roll to the floor on his stomach. I think it's the Bryan thing. I think they're playing up the injury more than it is. I'm pretty sure Omega is getting his surgery done very soon anyway.
Yeah.
So my theory is that this is going to lead to All In, which is going to be Continental Rules, Okada defending against Omega. You do it on the biggest stage, and you have Omega be like, hey, you think you can beat me, right? We're 2-2 against each other. This is the rubber match. No outside interference. Continental Classic rules. No outside interference. The Bucks can't get involved. No one can get involved. Let's do it in London.
Not even Jack Perry can get involved.
Yep. Let's do it in London. I think that's going to be Omega's first match back.
Well, we have all that time in between. If Kenny does have a surgery scheduled this month, a lot's going to have to factor in, like how long he's going to have to be out for his body to heal, and then when he's at 100% to where he can train to test his body to see if he is ready to go. So All In does feel like it's the proper, months coming in. All In does feel like it is the proper time limit. But if not, there's always All Out or there's Full Gear, Yeah. I remember how much time it takes for Kenny to recover. Because personally to me, I'd rather have Kenny recover properly the right way than having him get the surgery.
Yeah.
And then he's healed, he can take a couple bumps, he's back, but then all of a sudden he gets hurt too. He gets hurt another way.
Yeah, exactly. But the fact that they went so far and to do so much, especially around the gut, makes me feel like this is a Bryan Danielson situation where they know he's going to be okay. I mean, I don't think that I'm not looking at this as a serious injury because I know it is. Yeah. But they just did so much in this segment that they could have if he wasn't ready to get back in the ring, they could have done other stuff to work around the stomach, the illness. But the fact that they had him take the chair shot to the gut, they had him, really kind of wrestle a little bit by giving Jack Perry the 2 or 3 snapdragons, which showed.
I think it was just one snapdragon, but I think he also did
he went for the V trigger. He went for the V trigger.
Okay. Because I know he gave Jack Perry a couple of elbows. And it was just
Yeah. But the fact that they're doing this makes me think that I think he'll be ready to go by All In. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure this was a way to ride him off so he can get his surgery done and then he'll be ready to go.
Yeah.
The way I see it is kind of like Brock Lesnar in a way where he had that, but when he came back to WWE, they had to work around that, but then he started getting back in the groove. I think that's what's happening with Omega, where they caught it in time. It was an early diagnosis and they they're doing the surgery soon, but this is a way to write him off to get that surgery done.
Yeah. But I think with Kenny as well, personally, I think for Kenny, he's just doing this. But also, I think Kenny not only wants to do it the right way, but also he wants to be truly 100% to give the fans that match. Not like with Brock. I mean, nothing against. I mean, there are some things against Brock.
Oh, a lot of things about Brock.
Yeah. But as far as Brock King, Brock didn't have the move set that Kenny has. So I know with Kenny, he's gonna want to be healed up properly.
I mean, Omega may have to change up his wrestling style with this illness because I doubt.
I think it could work because even Okada, with how good he is, he has a very limited move set. So I still think he and Okada can put together a very good match.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I'm just saying, like, he's probably gonna have to change up his style just a little bit. Like maybe not do a lot of the dives and things like that. Focus on more of the in ring, like the slower in ring movements.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to go back to like hitting the Rise of the Terminator or hitting the suicide dives that he used to do. Just focus on the in ring aspect instead of taking it to the skies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. So let's move on to the opening of Rampage, which you said as well, which was the it kind of continued from the end of Dynamite, where we just talked about it. They dumped the Omega off of the gurney, and we start the opening contest. I guess of this last hour, Switchblade Jay White taking on Dante Martin. I thought this was a hell of a match. I thought it was a really good match.
I forgot about this match. Jesus. I was thinking about Rocky and Kyle O'Reilly. But okay, yeah, Jay White and Dante Martin.
Dude, Dante fought back really good against Jay White. I want Jay White to do more, though.
I want Jay White. I mean, this definitely is teased. The commentary was definitely going back to the Gauntlet match where Dante was kind of a thorn a little bit in Jay White's, where we got this match, and then the fact that Jay White and the Guns are unified trios champs, and we got Top Flight and Action Dre all 100% in 100% healthy condition. This definitely teases out that there's going to be a trios match between the two groups.
Well, there already was on Collision. That's what set this match.
No, I mean for the titles.
It was for the titles on Collision. Last week's Collision was the Gun Club or Bullet Club Gold versus Dante Martin and Dante Darius and Action Andretti for the titles. And then they spun this off into Jay White versus Dante Martin 1-on-1.
Huh.
You good?
I'm looking for that because I don't remember that. We keep going.
Hold on. I'm pretty sure it's for the titles. You go ahead and look that up. This match was good. It was a really, really solid opener for the third hour. And this is kind of the reason if they decide to just cancel Rampage and add that hour to Dynamite, I'm fine with it because you can use your entire roster for that 3 hour of Dynamite and keep 2 hours on Collision, and that be what Rampage was supposed to be, where you get more of the young talent and things like that, or the up and coming talent. I would much rather them do that than have Rampage kind of flounder on Fridays. Is just when the new deal comes, just have them add the third hour to Dynamite. If they do what they do here, where they kind of have a segment in and it comes right back and it connects, I think that's a good way to do it. And then you have, a lot more matches you can do. The problem with WWE in Raw being 3 hours for me is that there's not enough wrestling and a lot more of these talking segments or these things I don't care about because I want to watch the in-ring stuff. But if they add that to the third hour to Dynamite, now I get more wrestling. I get more stories and more rivalries that can be on a bigger scale.
Okay.
Did you look up that collision match?
Yeah, I found it. Yeah, it was there. I guess I definitely forgot about that. No, but even then, after the end of this match, though, with Jay White, doing the whole like congratulations to Dante, like
Mhm.
then giving him the bloody Sunday, that still tells me that this is not over. It is not
I
over.
love that he used the bloody Sunday.
Yeah, it's I know you want Jay White to do more, but I think right now, Jay White, he's in a position to where he and the Guns are the figurehead of a division at this point, to where they can still wrestle, but at the time they can also have good they're also playing with TV time, and I'm pretty sure they're waiting for Juice Robinson to be fully healed from his injury, to
Yeah,
where they can at least make Juice a part of the trios. So then Jay
the
White
trios
can be
division.
on his own.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. By the way, Dante took a hell of a Blade Runner in this match. Like what landed on his head. I love that sell.
Yeah.
So Switchblade Jay White wins. Did this match even happen on TV? I don't think I saw it.
It was
Konosuke
on
Takeshita
television.
versus
Yes, it
London
was on
Lightning.
television. Yeah.
Because I looked it up because I was watching it on a wrestling like website, and I did not see this match, so I can't
No,
really
this
say
was
anything about
live on television. Yeah, it's happened. I mean, it wasn't like something that was just for anyone who watched it on Thriller TV. No, this was live on cable.
Yeah, so I didn't see this match, so I'm going to go back and I'm pretty sure it's a squash match because I don't know who the fuck.
No,
London
it wasn't a
Lightning
squash
is.
match. It was a very competent back and forth match. Dante was able to get the best of Jay White. Jay White, but
No. I mean Konosuke Takeshita versus London Lightning.
I believe it was a squash match. Yeah. Okay.
I definitely know Switchblade and Dante happened, but I was like, I don't think I saw the Takeshita and Lightning match.
It was a squash, honestly. It went by very quickly. It was just a highlight that Takeshita is ready for Jon Moxley, and until
that match is gonna fucking rule.
Yeah, that's definitely gonna be a Forbidden Door match. That to me, that's gonna be a Forbidden Door.
I would say Double or Nothing. Go ahead and.
No, I think Double or Nothing. I think already we're seeing a lot of titles and being set up. I think at this point we need to spread things out to Forbidden Door.
That also.
Although at the same time,
sense.
I think Jon Moxley might defend it against the New Japan wrestler at Forbidden Door. So maybe or Double or Nothing does make more sense.
Then we have Rocky Romero taking on Kyle O'Reilly. This was match of the night for on Rampage for me. This was really fucking good. The counters, the chain wrestling, the striking, just them going back and forth with each other while like one could not get a clear edge against each other. Go ahead.
No, I definitely agree. Great chain wrestling there. This was definitely a match between two guys that are just not only given a match, but they're also properly motivated as well, especially from when we had hours ago with Rocky Romero from that promo. And you do see Rocky every time he's wrestling, every time he and Kyle are doing some good exchanges through the chain wrestling. Neither one was ever to get truly a top, like they were never able to get the more even ground or the momentum. The fact that Kyle had to win through a quick roll up definitely showed you that they were both at a same level, wrestling at the same pace. I mean, Rocky couldn't even barely do his running slice bread number 2 that he's always good.
Top rope sliced bread was sick that he hit on O'Reilly.
The top rope was great, But the fact that it's a running sliced bread that's no
Mhm.
much finisher, I'm like, that's not going to end for me. And I honestly didn't think Kyla was going to end it with a submission either. It was going to be very close to the finish.
Yes, this was a great match. But then we have our main event, which I thought also was a fucking fantastic street fight. Willow Nightingale defending the TBS title against Sky Blue in a Manitoba Massacre match, which is pretty much falls count anywhere. This match fucking ruled, man. Sky Blue has grown so fucking much.
Yeah, I
since
love the growth
she's
that
joined with Julia Hart. Go ahead.
No, I was agreeing with you. I do agree. I love the growth she's made from her being a freshly signee, and then just slowly growing, getting better in the ring. From first, I mean, people really aren't paying attention that AEW is focusing on young talent. Honestly, trail back to Sky Blue. Just look at her trajectory. Not only Julia Hart, but look at her trajectory as well. She was wrestling a lot, but she also took a lot of L's until she started winning, and she started challenging for championships. She lost. I mean, to me, that match she had against Jade Cargill at Battle of the Belts was still one of my favorite outings of how good she is in the ring, and honestly, one of Jade's few good matches as TBS champion.
Yeah.
I mean, that transition from when she went for the top rope, from that top rope body to Jade catching her to flipping her up almost to like a gorilla press, and then and then up in the air catching her for Jaded was fantastic.
So good. I love the fact that like with AEW, you can watch people grow. I didn't know who Sky Blue was when she debuted. But then I slowly started watching her matches. And now she's challenging for championships. And it feels great. Same with Julia Hart. I knew who Julia Hart was because she was the cheerleader manager for the varsity, not varsity blondes. Is it varsity blondes? Brian Pillman and Griff Garrison.
What? Griff Garrison. He's in a tag team in Ring of Honor.
No, I was saying when Julia Hart was the cheerleader.
Oh yes, Varsity Blondes. Yeah, Brian Pillman Jr. and Griff Garrison.
Yep. So from her being, Julia Hart being this kind of cheerleader to now being the queen of, the House of Black, such a great way to combine her character work. But now she's also bringing in Sky Blue and bringing her up as well. So to the point where like now Sky Blue and Julia Hart could be feuding with Mercedes Moné. I mean, they were in segments with her.
Well, I'm not sure about Julia Hart for now. I mean, she's on the injured list.
I mean, like to the point where she was in segments. Well, I mean, she was also in segments with Mercedes, which also from her shows her growth from like this manager type to where she is now. But this match fucking ruled, man. It was I don't know what it is. Whenever the women do this hardcore type match, they really shine. And Willow's really good at hardcore matches.
Yeah. Honestly, I do see like Sky Blue, the fact that she's growing so fast, and she's had 2 great stand-up performances in like dragged out like hardcore matches, like the street fight that she and Julia had against Willow and Chris, and now in this Manitoba brawl match. It was incredible. And the spots were honestly there were outside of the spots. Sky was really telling a story like she was there to punish Willow, not just have her take her number, but to punish her.
Yeah. So the spots again were incredible. The fucking top rope, what was it? The top rope brainbuster spot.
Yeah, I think a cradle brainbuster.
The fisherman driver. To like that Willow hit on Sky through the fucking thumbtacks.
Well, and it was kind of one of those situations to where no matter what happened, it was going to be a sell. I mean, especially on replay, the plan really was Sky to take the brunt there, but because of the way the thumbtacks were positioned,
Willow took almost all of them.
Yeah, she took most of them, but also with Willow's body as well. I mean, she had to work that little twist so she couldn't really. It really wasn't a situation to where maybe she had jumped off the turnbuckle. Regardless, I still loved how she executed that in midair, and I loved how she really was selling those thumbtacks even afterwards, which gave Sky so much time to set up that barbed wire board on the table.
I love Daddy Magic on commentary being like, who built that? Someone built that and put it underneath the ring.
Yeah.
Dude, he is so good. And Matt Menard is so good on commentary.
Matt Menard is really fantastic. Like, I love that even before he was on Rampage, he was great commentary on AEW Dark, so knowing what he can bring to the table. And him being kind of disgusted at times during this match was great too. It really sold how he's like, I don't want to see these women hurt themselves.
Yeah, it's so funny. But Sky Blue brings out a fucking barbed wire board and then Willow hits what's she calling it? I call it Dr. Bomb.
Yeah, the Dr. Bomb. That gut wrench power bomb, it's called the Dr. Bomb.
But commentary Excalibur keeps saying the girl with the power bomb. So is that?
No, it's the Dr. Bomb. I don't know what Excalibur was trying to say with that.
Well, he keeps saying it every time Will hits. He goes, the girl with the power bomb.
No, he said Dr. Bomb a couple of times. Even he said that when she won at Dynasty.
I know, it seems like they kind of flipped the name. I mean, it's the same move, but it seems like they're kind of going with the girl with the power bomb.
Maybe Excalibur, it's part of a narrative he's saying when it comes about in Willow.
Maybe.
Power bomb, but the Dr. Bomb is the finishing move.
Yeah, so she hits the Dr. Bomb through the table and through the barbed wire board.
Well, it's not through. Both of them get tangled up in that, which was insane. Like Sky Blue, you can definitely see she was wrapped on two different areas of her body. So, and I love how she's selling it. So she's just laying there stiff. Like she knows, because if she does move on her own, that barbed wire can get caught in something.
It's going to be tangled in her hair and everything.
It was definitely around her waist too. While Willow, it was most likely like she had some caught around her leg. So
yeah. This one was the opposite of the thumbtack spot, where Sky took all the barbed wire and Willow just got enough from her legs.
Yeah. And honestly, this to me definitely feels like an end cap for this rivalry with Sky and Julia.
Oh, yeah.
Julia's off television because of an injury, but even then, Willow winning the TBS title, and now Scott beating Sky for her first defense. This definitely feels like this is over. Like Willow can now start moving on and focusing towards Mercedes, and especially especially with Mercedes still, I mean, with not like, well, yeah, she's causing a little bit of her own chaos, with Willow, like trying to plant those seeds of doubt in her, and especially after what happened on last week's Dynamite of Chris getting in the way. There's definitely some brewing chaotic elements here between now and Double or Nothing. And it really is, I really hate the fact that it's her debut match, because I would have loved to have seen Mercedes wrestle in between now and Dynamite, and Double or Nothing.
Double or Nothing. I think she's still. I think she's almost cleared, but I think that she's not completely cleared, because in an interview or in a promo she said, when I'm cleared at Double or Nothing. So I don't think she's completely ring ready yet.
I've seen her in some small, at some wrestling schools, shown through clips that she is going through the ropes.
Yeah. So she's probably retraining her body to do a full match.
Yeah.
But going back to if they get rid of Rampage and make it a 3-hour Dynamite, this would have been a perfect 3-hour Dynamite, because especially if you say you started the night with Mariah May and Serena Deeb, and you end the night with Willow and Sky for the TBS title, that's two women's matches that get pretty decent amount of time.
Yeah.
And then you
also
still wrap it
mention,
around.
Rampage, they've also set up another match for Mariah next week. They had Renee.
Right.
Yeah, or not Renee. No, the new interview girl. She was
Yeah.
interviewing Saraya and Harley Cameron, and they were pretty much rubbing some salt in the wound with Tony Mariah. That sets up next
Mhm.
week. We get Mariah versus Harley Cameron in her Dynamite debut.
That is her Dynamite debut. Yep.
Yes, I think
What do you?
Harley's.
How do you feel about them bringing in Soraya's brother Zach Knight?
I don't think they're going to bring that. I think right now this feels to me like this is going to be Saraya like wanting to reopen the wound with Tony Storm a bit.
Hmm.
Zach, he might get factored in, but I don't think honestly at this point I don't think they're going to have Luther sign up to wrestle.
No. I'm just saying, like, just in general.
Oh, I think Zach, he's gonna start doing his own thing. Like maybe
Yeah.
maybe he'll have some squash matches, or maybe he'll have some competent wrestling matches on Collision or Rampage.
I watched him on Ring of Honor. He's pretty damn good.
He really is. He is good. He is a beast. Well, yeah. The way he's presented in Ring of Honor, he's a beast. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
his match against Angelo, it was a good match. It was a good match between the two of them, but it felt to me that it needed.
By the way, shout out to them. I don't think we mentioned it. Shout out to Angelo and Ruby Soho for the pregnancy announcement.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome. Congratulations, guys. Dynamite next week looks really fucking good. You have Adam Copeland defend the TNT title against Brody King, and you got Orange Cassidy versus Trent Beretta. So, 2 big matches for Dynamite. All right, that's.
I do agree. No, sorry, I was just trying to go through my notes, see if there was anything else, but that's about it.
Yeah, I mean that's all I can think of. I'm gonna end this with this question: would you be okay with a 3-hour Dynamite?
Yes, I would be fine with the 3-hour Dynamite. I'm still not into the whole thing of getting rid of Rampage. I think AEW needs a third show to focus on more of the talent, because if Rampage just becomes just another if Rampage becomes kind of like an end cap for Dynamite, I don't mind that. Rampage can kind of like with Dynamite, how it's trying to set up main stories, and then Rampage can kind of be like fallouts of some certain like it can bleed into. Like Rampage can still be its own thing, but as part of a 3-hour time block.
I don't know. I feel like if you make Dynamite 3 hours, you can tell a lot more stories and have a lot more wrestling, but you save all of your young talent and you save all of your, I'm not going to say B and C level stories, but that's kind of what they are. You save those for Collision. It's a 2-hour block. A lot of people get a lot of time to wrestle. You get to tell more stories on that side because, for being honest, not a lot of people watch Rampage. I think if you put them on Collision, it not only lets them shine more, but you get to put more eyes on Collision and Dynamite because there's only 2 shows to watch in the week during compared to 3.
Well, I think the thing with Rampage is that it was just its time. It was a time slot and its position. The fact that it was just 1 hour of wrestling on Friday, to where who knew what people were doing on Friday nights? I mean, I think it felt to me it was kind of experimental at the time when it was just Dynamite and Rampage. Then Collision came aboard, but even then, Rampage, I still believe Rampage can still be its own thing, or it can be an extra addition to either Collision or Dynamite.
If you really wanted to, and this is
here's the thing, they already record Rampage matches during Dynamite tapings, so
wasn't Rampage live this week?
At first, it was live for a while, but it was always recorded. But it was always but it was always in the same arena as they would have Dynamite.
No, tonight it was live, wasn't it?
Yeah, because it was attached with Dynamite.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying though. Like if you just make it a 3-hour Dynamite, it'll make it cleaner because then everyone is not gonna be like, oh well, I gotta wait to see what happens on a different show. It's like, oh, we'll just show you what happens on this 3-hour Dynamite. Like you can,
but then that still
tell
takes
stories more cleaner.
Time. I think it still distracts from a lot of time.
That's fair. I don't know. I feel like it would be better just make it where Dynamite's 3 hours. You get to tell the same stories. You get to have wrestling matches, and then you get your B and C level stories on Collision that is 2 hours on a Saturday, and then make it like that. Because I feel like Rampage is kind of getting the NXT treatment, where it's like it's only an hour. You don't really get to tell a lot of stories because you just don't have time.
Well, the difference with NXT, at least when it was an hour, it was on the WWE Network to where they used. But even then, when it was a full hour, not much was used. At least with Rampage, with the picture-in-picture, it was still like you get some wrestling with the commercialism. I mean, even right now with Ring of Honor, to me, I still right now what I still believe this wholeheartedly. What's happening with the lack of storytelling or lack of like more women's wrestling is a networking issue. Because I can watch Ring of Honor, I can watch Honor Club, and I will see more time devoted to tag teams and women's wrestling. And it's clear to me, like, yeah, there is a fucking problem with the network. So hopefully, if there's the opportunity that AEW is given it's given another, like, maybe if Rampage is to extend, I'm thinking that's where you can do more, have dedications towards tag teams, trios, and women's matches.
Yeah. All right. So I think that's pretty much everything for tonight. Ryan, where can people find you before we head out?
Everyone, you guys find me online. I don't use it a lot, but if you really want to message me about my wrestling opinions, you can find me on Twitter. I'm not calling it that name because it's fucking stupid and it's lazy. But yeah, find me on Twitter. But also I have a wrestling podcast. I co-host with my friend James Shimo and our collaborator Brett McPherson. It is called the Wrestling. It's just called Wrestling Ramblings and Rages Podcast. James and I, we like to, it's not like a shooting the shit thing. We really do like to go on with certain news topics, or we like to review certain shows, or we reviewed old wrestling programs or pay-per-views, and we do top 5 or top 10 lists. Go check it out. We do have some new episodes that we recorded between from January and March. We are a bit of a unfortunate hiatus at this point, but we plan to come back, at least record some of the episodes we already have in the can at this moment. And that's oh yeah, it's available on Google Podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, and Pocket Casts. I know there's a few more, but I unfortunately don't have it in my notes.
Hell yeah. All right, so go check them out. All right, guys, if you did enjoy this, please hit the like button, subscribe to the Nerd Entertainment Network down below. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys soon. Peace.